Hi guys, welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot. Today I am releasing a pick a card reading to kind of fill in the remainder of the mid-months. I was kind of inspired to do things a little bit differently right now. I think that it's important that we kind of sit for a minute and contemplate what happens when we are in this much Uranian energy, which is what's going on right now. I've heard so many people say, oh my God, what's happening? I can't sleep. I'm so nervous. I'm so anxious. I'm stressed. I don't even know what I'm stressed about. Some of us are kind of really digging our heels in and resisting change in some ways. And some of us are really ready to throw in the towel, to allow anything to come in, to really invite change and break up the stagnation that some of us have been feeling. It's going to be different for all of us, but what I can promise you is that it will feel as though something is released. Now, we have a big aspect today as Mars is conjunct Uranus at 7 degrees of Taurus. So, guys, especially if you are experiencing, or if you have any planets or aspects within, I honestly want to say about a 4 to 11 degree ratio of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius, this transit's going to be extremely personal for you. There's going to be a tremendous amount of change occurring in your life. Now, Uranus is the planet of lightning. It's a planet of electricity. It is the fastest planet for change and progression. But the thing about Uranus is it's very scientific, and therefore it is not very emotional. And as we get into this Uranian energy, it is even more amplified as the sun meets up in Aquarius. And shortly, in a few days, we will see the sun go through transits with Saturn, with Jupiter, and all while making this square to Uranus. So there's a lot of illumination. There's a lot of breakthroughs. However, you can also expect the unexpected. Now, wherever Mars is involved, things can really talk about our ambition and our drive. Where are we going? And with Uranus involved, there could be a sudden change of direction. Maybe you thought a relationship or a job or something was going to go in one direction, and suddenly it takes a turn, and there could be things that are somewhat out of our control. Like I said, we're in a portal of time right now where we've surrendered, and you're in a good place if you're willing to surrender, if you could remain flexible and go with the flow. Now is not a good time for us to fill up the calendar, fill up that schedule real tightly. You want to be able to kind of navigate around sudden unexpected occurrences. Guys, we're in this energy for a while. Mercury is in its shadow now. It's approaching its retrograde period. The things we're talking about, thinking about, and doing at this time will be under review very shortly. We'll have a chance to reframe them. We'll have a chance to review new information, new insight. As the sun meets up with all of these planets, there's going to be a lot within us that wants to make these great big changes, and yet Saturn and Jupiter say, hold on. There's more to understand. There's more to do. There are consequences. There is karma and destiny at play. There's new people coming into our life. There's old people coming back into our life. We're restructuring, and everything is happening really quickly. Now, not only is it Uranian and sudden, and it causes this anticipatory anxiety within all of us, but what also happens in this energy is that there are real reality checks. There's another sudden push of consequences for our actions. Now, you're seeing this play out really dramatically within the collective. And again, I want to remind everybody that the U.S. is moving towards their Pluto return. So things are really going to destruct collectively. That does not mean that things are destructing in our own personal lives. I think in a lot of ways, you're going to see this kind of play out in a more negative way collectively on the news and what you're watching with our economy, things like this. Things can really start to unravel, or really unexpected things can occur that are very jarring, that might change our perspectives dramatically, as we've been in since, since the 6th of January. We've been in the same energy, and I think for a lot of us, we're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. But I don't want you to transfer that anxiety into your personal lives. At this time, we're in a really fertile place for new stuff. The seeds are being planted with all this Uranus and Taurus energy. Yes, we didn't realize we wanted it. Yes, we didn't realize we were going to go in this direction. Yeah, a lot of things may not be in our own personal control right now. But it's important to understand that it's for our greater good. It's important to understand that we are being forced to move ahead. Regardless of where we're at, we've got to get on the train. And yet there's yet another series of Saturn saying, wait a second, before you do this, you have to finish that. Before you can go here, you have to, Saturn will say you have to finish paying these bills, or, maybe there's some debt that comes up that you didn't realize. There's some consequences to past actions. We're all going to see this play out. And a lot of it is within our thought processes. Remember that ultimately what's happening is we're still breaking through these old barriers. These places where we think small. We think like we can't have it all. We've been through so much polarity that it seems like if we want our personal lives or our romantic lives to really thrive, it's almost as if we're being forced to sacrifice family or career, or there seems to be this push and the pull where you can have one thing but you can't have them both, and that's really highlighting kind of our mental state right now. We're being asked to see beyond the limits, and Uranus is going to give us some real unusual ways to kind of bend or break the rules in our favor. Remember, we're inviting in our inner rebellion, and in a time when Eris is very alive in the chart as well, you kind of want to invite the darker side, the shadow side of yourselves to the table. You want to kind of have all hands on deck. When we're going through situations in our life, you want to be able to really see all aspects of self, why we do those things. We have the wisdom to catch ourselves. We have the wisdom to not make the same mistakes, repeat the same cycles. This is a time when the universe is really asking you to progress. When we bow down to the basics of survival, which is very Taurian energy. What do we need to survive? Well, in order to survive, we have to keep going. We have to see the growth. We have to see the potential. And sometimes it means we have to suddenly cut things out of our lives. There's no time for emotions right now. You're going to feel like you have to make decisions from places that aren't so emotional. Now isn't really the time to worry so much about other people, about what they think. Now, that doesn't mean that, relationships aren't important. In fact, I think relationships are going to be very important. The ones that are true to us, the ones that are nurturing, the ones that are inviting us to kind of go through this ascension process. But the relationships that are making you dim the light, the relationships that are making you play things small in your life, the ones that are causing you to not really hone in on your gifts and your talent that you're meant to contribute to society at this time. This is all a big deal. And so we really have to understand this energy and how we invite it into play. And I just wanted to point out, as I was shuffling through the cards, the bottom of the main deck that I used was a Tower card. Very indicative that every one of us is going through a tremendous amount of change. with change, there is hope. So it's very important that we stay in a very positive mindset as we go through this. The more resistance we have, the harder it's going to be. So again, in the spirit of remaining flexible, let's take a look at these cards and what they want to explain to you. Now, a quick reminder, in the description box below, I will have timestamps. So if you are drawn to one particular reading, you don't have to sit through all of them in order to get there, guys. I always try to respect your time, your energy, and get you the most information in a clear and concise manner. If I'm stumbling through my words or hard to understand, again, reminder that Mercury is going retrograde. I have a lot of Virgo in my chart, so because I am so Mercury ruled, anytime Mercury is doing certain things in the sky, I feel it and project it and mirror it. So please have patience with me as well. Now, I just want to go over the 3 piles and the agate slices that I used for them. It sometimes can help you gauge what reading is for you. Now, the first pile is a beautiful aqua green stone, which I picked colors of agate slices that spoke to me of integration, because I do feel like we're all in some way kind of integrating 2 different parts of ourselves. And I look at these as a chakra, and I look at this color kind of representing the heart and the throat, communication and self-expression. So I think the first reading, the first set of cards, is probably something to do with your ability to communicate what you truly feel within your heart. Now, the second pile is this beautiful bright pink. Clearly a very feminine energy coming from this reading. I also feel as though it is a mix between the crown chakra, the kind of amethyst purple, the knowing, the intuition part of selves, and the throat, meaning that we're able to express our intuition. There's trust that comes from the second pile. There's an eminence of learning to trust yourself through processes, and learning to listen to yourself. Now, the third pile is this beautiful earthy brown color, which kind of looks carnelian to me. And I see this as a beautiful integration between the root chakra and the solar plexus chakra, meaning there's probably a lot of deep stuff being unearthed, things that are holding us back, barriers and blocks within us. And I think those things are getting lifted, whether we like it or not, whether it's comfortable or not. There are things being unearthed so that we could start to move forward. We could start to emanate forward-moving energy, motivation, starting to get our energy back. And I think that's a lot about what that third pile is going to be. Okay, guys, so you could take a look at the thumbnail if you want, meditate on the colors, see what speaks to you. If you are more comfortable choosing by number, remember green is number 1, pink is number 2, and the brown is number 3. Take a minute, meditate on the energy, and of course you're always welcome to listen to all 3 readings and just gauge within yourself what fits you. I'll do them as quickly and concise as possible for all of you. Okay, starting with pile number 1. I have to tell you that with this pile, sometimes I pick up on a certain vibration, and there is a vibration of freedom coming from this. Now, we should all expect to feel a certain amount of freedom. Again, it's definitely stepping out of our comfort zones, but it's for our greater good. Now, the overall energy in the reading you have is the Black Moon Lilith, the mystery card. It's a very interesting start to the reading. This is a very feminine energy as well. And sometimes when I see green, it talks to me about envy. Let's take a look at your cards. We have the 8 of Wands, the 10 of Pentacles, the Fool, the Four of Swords, and the High Priestess. Yeah, a lot of integration here. A lot of understanding your, it feels very feminine intuition coming in. Now, Black Moon Lilith, oftentimes best known for being Adam's first wife, or maybe the ultimate, most famous ex-wife, scorned woman energy. She talks about revenge. She talks about the shadow side of Black Moon Lilith. Can represent jealousy. It can represent envy. It could represent anger. And I guess what happens when you're in that energy, you begin to draw from a place so deep within yourself. And it does speak of survival. It does speak of independence. It speaks of protecting your values. And I see that there is an emphasis on protecting your values here with the Eight of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. The Eight of Wands is definitely an energy of taking action. Now, I don't know how willing. I'm not sure if this was your idea. This might have been situations that were somewhat out of your control. And with the Ten of Pentacles there and the Fool card, there's definitely a feeling like you have to step away from certain comfort zones. Now, yes, this can represent walking away from a marriage or a relationship or a job. Ten of Pentacles feels as though it's something that has been deeply rooted in our lives, something that we've integrated all the things around. The Ten of Pentacles can be that job we can never, ever envision ourselves leaving, because there are certain aspects of it that we have grown to truly rely on. And I like that the Fool card comes out underneath the Black Moon Lilith. She seems to be kind of teetering over the edge, just kind of holding on to this rope that's connected to this Ten of Pentacles. And then I feel as though something is pushing you with that Eight of Wands, pushing you away or out of this comfort zone. She's holding this beautiful purple amethyst stone, which talks to me a lot about that integration and a lot about that intuition, which is apparent here in this High Priestess card, that you're being kind of forced to trust the universe, to rely on yourself. It feels as though maybe not everything is black and white on paper. Okay, so far in this current time, the words have not been spoken. The deal has not actually been put in writing. Nothing has been signed, which means it's still fluid. That there is time to change the outcome of this. And I think it's very, very important for us to take a look at the Fool next to the Four of Swords, kind of underneath this Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith can tell you that you will survive no matter what. There is strength, there is resilience, there is this feminine power that regardless of circumstances, you will survive. You will survive not only on believing in yourself, but it feels as though standing on your self-worth. There's an element here of not taking something, not allowing other people to take you for granted, understanding your power. And I think there's something so intelligent about the Black Moon Lilith, because she can go to this place of revenge. Like, she's been there. She's felt that anger. She's felt that envy. She's felt that jealousy. She's felt that hit to her ego, and she had to learn to survive in spite of those wounds. And when you come from that energy into the Fool, there's very little that you could possibly fear. When you have already lost those things, when you've already dealt in that energy, you begin to see that truly what happens next is up to you. And how important it is to come from a place of survival, but not a place of revenge. And I think for every sign, for every person, it's very important to keep your eye on the big picture. It's very important to stay focused on the future stuff. We're definitely not in an element where it's friendly to kind of look past. Look at the old life, look at the old ways. You know, we could use it as a place of wisdom, but I wouldn't plan on going back there. We've closed those doors. If you fear integrating a new commitment into your life because you had to dig so deep to survive after the last one, it's not a good time, and the universe is not going to support you in holding yourself back. And the Four of Swords and the High Priestess tells me that even though you very badly want to move things forward, get to the next level, reach the next thing, there is rest that's needed. There may be a form of separation. There might be a form of isolation. Four of Swords is a very temporary thing. Four of Swords can mean having to kind of be away from a job or a circumstance or a relationship for a little while. Take a breather. Its ability to kind of reframe your perspective. And because the High Priestess is there supporting that energy, it means it's a time for you to kind of tap into the wisdom and trust yourself. Let's take a look at these cards. Archangel Michael, see? Retrograde Mercury. Damn. Card number 9. And I love the way this happens. It goes from an 8, 9, and 10. There's definitely a process here. What you may not see, what you may not understand and integrate right now is how much the universe is truly supporting you. Supporting this change, supporting this new goal for yourself. There is no doubt that you are being protected, you are being heard, and you are being guided. Now, and I'm getting pulled to children in 2 different cards here. There's a young boy and a young girl here. And the young boy seems to be reaching towards the angel. And the young girl is kind of leaning up against him. Now I see children in this 10 of Pentacles cards that are very free, very able to be children, there's nobody's worried about not having enough. The 10 of Pentacles is always an indication that there will be plenty, that there will not be a need to scrounge, there won't be a lack of freedom, there won't be a lack of resources in any way. Underneath that 10 of Pentacles and the Fool is success. I know that there is no greater goal than to love. And I don't know why, but I'm picking up on this element of letting go. Of the need to know the outcome. Understanding that there's really no guarantees in this world. You make the commitments. And then we put ourselves in this place where we try to judge, is it a success or is it a failure? When it comes to life, it's always both, right? There is no such thing as success without failure, and vice versa. The same with the darkness. You cannot have light without the dark. You cannot understand the positive without having experienced the negative. And I think that there has been a reframing of what success is to you. Maybe success was very financially driven. Maybe success meant the big house, the fancy car. And then life started to unfold, and it started to show you that success can be in other places as well. Success can be happy children, even if it means you have to stay home or put certain sets of values aside. Success can mean relationships in lieu of careers, you know? And I think the Fool is inviting you to allow the next successful thing to come forward. A win-win outcome is forecast. Full moon in Libra. Yeah. This is all about the integration of relationships. Libra is always about other people, and it's also about justice. And justice is always for the greater good. It's what is best for everyone. Treasure Island, card number 9, coming out directly under the Priestess. That is really beautiful energy. The Treasure Island with the High Priestess. I think that you're being asked to really tap into your true emotions. Really being asked to tap into your intuition and to speak your truth, to express your needs. There's definitely a release of the fear, release of the movement, and an ability to change, to be flexible. And I think this is you emerging and seeing something in a new way, realizing that it can work. This is a gift that was given to you by the universe. It was an opportunity, and that you can take this leap of faith. Look, she's letting go. She's surrendering this 10 of Pentacles, this place where everything has to kind of meet at all the right gears to keep turning. It feels very complicated. It feels like there's a lot of things that you have to fulfill, a lot of different roles that you play in other people's lives. And sometimes you can build up a form of resentment. Yeah, but I can't quit the job because I have to keep the kids in this school system and this and that. And we make 1,000 reasons why our life can't change. And so the universe hears, oh, okay, you don't want to be happy. We could spend a lot of time there. We could spend a lot of time, but when Uranus energy starts to creep in, we begin to get a real fuck it kind of attitude, right? I just don't want to do that anymore. And Black Moon Lilith can really stand in her power. You know, when she is activated, she could say, I'm not going to stand for this anymore. I'm not going to be in this job, or I'm not going to be in this relationship. I'm not going to be stifled. When I see the Fool card here, it's like wanting to let go so that you can follow your heart. And there's no doubt your heart is directly connected to this intuition. And I think you know the weight of the things that you have to let go of. And I think you know that the old you may have been truly tied and tethered to this 10 of Pentacles, this responsibility in the name of success. in order to not let other people down. But how much love did you experience from that? And I think Black Moon Lilith, I think the scales and this Libra card, knowing that things are coming to fruition. I see a lot of circles here. It just feels as though you are being protected as you are being shown, as you are sort of growing into this new version of self and this person that requires balance in order to tame this Black Moon Lilith, this resentment that comes from within. There may be some part of you that looks at a relationship or a job and it starts to really keep score. Yeah, but I made this sacrifice and I did this and I worked this many hours and you didn't do this and you didn't fulfill this, and things, like I said, it becomes either non-emotional or really deeply emotional. It brings out all the old stuff, all that old anger, maybe even ways in which you gave power away in other areas of your life, and it kind of builds up and it pushes us to this point of letting go, the ultimate fuck it moment. But what do you want that moment to look like? Because Black Moon Lilith, when you tap into her power, it can come out a couple of different ways, right? Black Moon Lilith, it can come out as a real FU moment, as a lot of burning bridges, not being able to turn back. It could be very impulsive. It could be that, well, I'm just not going to do it today. Maybe in some ways in your life you need to exude that. You know, if you're with a partner or you have friends that treat you like shit, but expect you to always kind of be around to help and bring stability to their lives, if that's the situation, maybe you have older children that really take advantage, and all of a sudden this Black Moon Lilith gets activated and enough is enough, but it's not a pretty situation. But something has to be done in order to balance these scales so that you don't carry this feeling of resentment with you. Because the next phase of your life is going to be really creative. With that High Priestess, you're on a roll. You're in a place where you're using a different part of yourself. Now, I think if you're walking away from a relationship or if you're walking away from a job, it will ultimately become very lucrative. I do see that with the 9. I see that with a High Priestess. And I think it's best not to question your inner knowing this month. I think it's important to trust what you're feeling about people, with people. Black Moon Lilith can detect when people are lying to her. She could sense without a doubt if somebody is, doesn't have our best interest in mind. She can sense that deep within, and she's not afraid to trust herself. And that's really the heart of this whole entire situation. That's why you had to go through all of this, was a process to learn to truly trust yourself. And what you're working towards, you are not your thoughts. You are simply aware of your thoughts. Yeah. That's the ability to harness Black Moon Lilith in the most positive way. That's when you honor yourself, you honor those feelings, you allow yourself to say, hey, this isn't fair. Hey, I deserve more. I deserve to be treated better. I deserve respect. Black Moon Lilith is a very feminine part of Pluto, right? You could really be called to want to get revenge, want to expose people in a negative way. You want to invite chaos in. But really the superpower, the thing that will get you the farthest towards your goal, towards your treasure island, is by the releasing and letting go. Finding you're happy in another place. Allowing yourself rest, allowing yourself peace. It's not about revenge. It's not about getting back at somebody. It's not about making them see what they did to you. That energy is much better used making them see how great you are without them. How easy it is to survive without them, without that thing. How powerful you are, that nothing and no one can keep you from your destiny of your abundance. Whatever that means to you, whether it is money, whether it is career aspirations, whether it is protecting your children in some way, whatever that is to you, well, heaven help the person that's trying to deter you from it. But it's important that you remember how you use that energy and that power. And to not forget and to not mistake the energy and the power that you have over people at this time. That's Black Moon Lilith holds a lot of power and a lot of respect. She demands. She is kind of a subject of authority. She's not going to let anybody undersell her, and she's certainly not going to let anybody disrespect her. All right, beautiful reading, guys. Moving on to pile number 2. Beautiful pink stone. Okay. I'm going to take these first. Your overall energy for this reading is Venus, love. Venus definitely represents kind of the feminine qualities within us. Card number 4 is about love. It's about stability. It's about, the joining, the merging, the integration of others. It's about integrating that part of our life that we love. Venus can represent sex. She could represent spending money. She could represent our resources, our hobbies, the things that we enjoy. This is becoming a focus in your life right now. And I could see why. Okay. There's a lot of alchemy here within these cards. We have a 5 of Pentacles and a 3 of Swords, which to me represents kind of the worst of the worst. And this might have been our experience this far in terms of love, in terms of our heart, in terms of relationships with others. 5 of Pentacles is a feeling of abandonment, the feeling of being ostracized in some way. Not fitting in, not having enough, that no one cares about you. And the 3 of Swords is having to truly look at our wounds, the broken pieces of ourselves, acknowledging the heartbreak. Maybe for a while the coping mechanism, that thing that you used to maybe ignore this stuff, the 3 of Swords always represents a severing, right? It reminds me of kind of these reality checks that we have throughout our lives. We believe what we believe, and it changes throughout our experiences. So, sometimes I laugh about how damaging these Disney princess movies are that we grow up on, because you just have this innocent belief that everything always works out. There's Prince Charming, there's princesses, there's, all the money in the world and everybody's happy and people can fly, And the 3 of Swords is kind of like those life lessons, those slices that kind of occur in our lives, kind of like these reality checks. Well, yeah, but not everybody stays. Yeah, but not everybody loves you the way that you love them. Yeah, but some people really don't care about your happiness. They're reality checks, they're experiences. And the way I look at this heart with all of these strings coming, it's just tying you to these old heartbreaks. And I think there's a fear. I think for a long time there's been a fear of looking at those things. Love has just become a series of reality checks telling you shouldn't believe in it. You shouldn't believe in people. You know, you could stick your finger in an electrical socket once and you're probably not going to do it again. There's a lot of earthy, practical energy here telling me that you are somebody who has kind of just looked to other parts of your life. Okay, well, love didn't really work out for me. I don't really trust people. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. So I turn my attention to this thing, this Eight of Pentacles, which really is a beautiful energy, because when we are in the flow of an Eight of Pentacles, it means that we are really, truly headed towards success. I feel like the Eight of Pentacles is a very pivotal place of confidence. Understanding that we've reached a certain level, we've had a certain amount of experiences, we can start to trust ourselves. Eight of Pentacles is a card just under the Nine of Pentacles, meaning we are closer and closer and closer to that self-reliance, that place within us that does not need nor require anyone else in order to survive. The Nine of Pentacles is the ultimate in success and stability without the integration of someone else. And this Eight of Pentacles is a place that you go to just before that Nine of Pentacles. And I like it because she's kind of looking within this flame, looking towards these things of her past, understanding why she or he has put so much energy into this Eight of Pentacles thing, why it has been so important for them to kind of maintain a certain level of stability and independence. It is a card of alchemy, and I feel as though this is a changing point. You know, I feel like up until now, your whole life, well, you've just kind of been this way. There's not a lot of emotion behind it. There's not a lot of hurt feelings. There's not a lot of regret. It just is what it is. Put your head down and get the work done. But she seems to be willing to look at these things a little bit clearer, a little bit longer. Maybe beginning to acknowledge her existence. And I think that this is an invitation from the universe for you to kind of acknowledge your need for the softer things in life. Yes, you can do it all on your own. Yes, you can create these experiences. You look right here, right next to this Eight of Pentacles, is this Ace of Pentacles. Now, what did I say? We were striving for the Nine. Eight of Pentacles, striving for the Nine, the ultimate in independence. Here it is, your Ace of Pentacles. It is that thing that gives you the Nine of Pentacles status, the status of I don't need anyone, I know my self-worth. And it's a beautiful place to go. It's a beautiful place to be. It's my pre-empress, and I'm not saying this in a negative way. But in order to get to that Nine of Pentacles, you have to acknowledge the things of the past. And you have to acknowledge that regardless of how they were handled or how you felt or how it went, there is still an element of yourself that requires that softness. And that softness seems to be right here in front of you, this Knight of Cups. And maybe this is someone or something that you are not quite acknowledging enough. And I don't know why, but I feel as though you're seeing this Knight of Cups as a threat to your ninth pentacle. Yeah, but if I let this person sweet talk me, I may lose my focus, may lose my independence, my ability to think for myself, to create my own future, to create my own abundance. There is this softer polarity, this Knight of Cups, this Venusian energy. And I think in some ways you're torn between letting it push you farther into your shell or inviting the expansion into our lives. Yeah. Underneath this Five of Pentacles and this Three of Pentacles is the Five of Keys. Wishes fulfilled. There are unresolved stuff that happened to you in the past that makes you put your foot down and not trust. And in doing so, you are not acknowledging a smaller part of you. And I see this, like, I'm so drawn to these two younger versions of a woman here. Almost like these are the younger versions of yourself, maybe where you felt like you were naive and you made mistakes and you trusted the wrong people. And you may have really beat yourself up for that. You may have really crucified yourself for putting yourself in that position, but yet underneath the core of it cannot and should not be denied, and that is the Five of Keys. Meaning there is a part of you that truly wants that partnership. There is a part of you that truly wants to integrate someone else, a softer side of life, somebody to cuddle with at the end of it, a long day. Somebody to call when you're happy, somebody to call with the bad news. You know, it doesn't have to even be necessarily a romantic person. It could just be allowing yourself to trust and love another person. Even, you know, if you've had issues with friendships or a loss within friendships in your life, the universe is trying to get you to invite that back in, regardless of the bad experiences from the past. Because ultimately, wishes fulfilled, Five of Keys, means you have to come to terms with this so that you can allow yourself to experience the softer stuff. You do deserve it. Purpose. I know what I am here to do. See, there's a part of you where these experiences, this Five of Pentacles, this Three of Swords, these experiences were very important for you to have in order for you to do what you're doing. Now, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if maybe these past broken hearts, these disappointments kind of led you, I don't know, maybe you're writing a self-help book. Maybe you've started a career in psychology. Maybe you're reaching out and helping other people that have been through these experiences. There was a reason for the pain. There was a reason for the abandonment. There was a reason for the loss. It has led you towards this ultimate purpose in your life. Now, Venus is just as much tied to our livelihood as she is to our love lives. She is just as tied to our finances as she is our sexual preferences. Venus is very tied to our emotions, how we feel, what we love. New moon in Virgo, a time to give rather than take. There is something very much about you being called to be of service to others. And there's an emotional kind of culmination that happens when you have the ability to do so. It means that these things, these negative circumstances that happened to you in your past, they were not for waste. Like I said, there's alchemy. You made something from these things. Even if it was just as simple as not investing time and attention and energy into love relationships and really moving towards your career, being tied towards, making money. And you are on the right path, and that was your purpose. And now you have the ability to give back what you learned from those experiences. When I see Virgo, it is always what we are willing to give. How are we willing to help others? Exchanging of gifts. Ace of Pentacles, Knight of Cups. There is something about this Knight of Cups that tells me that they are coming from a very vulnerable place. And I feel as though you may intimidate them, because I don't feel like this is your energy. This Knight of Cups comes out right underneath card number 27, which breaks down to a 9, exchanging gifts, which is about the reciprocity within a relationship. And because you've reached certain levels of success and stability in some way, it doesn't mean that you have all the money in the world or you've reached pivotal points of your career, but I do feel as though this person looks at you as somebody who's very willing to work hard for the things that they have. And you may be in a position where you can offer them some kind of solace, some kind of relief, some kind of guidance. Because I almost feel a little bit of lost soul in this Knight of Cups. This might be somebody who is looking for a new home, looking for a new, I don't know why I'm being pulled so hard to, maybe it's because he's sitting, but there's like this need for this root chakra energy. And I think this Knight of Cups wants very much to lay down roots of some sort with you. And there might be a part of you that really hesitates on an emotional level. Might be a part of you that's looking at this in a very practical way. Yeah, but if I allow them to rely on me, if I accept their love, then I'm going to be expected to love in return. I don't know why I'm getting a fear of obligation. Ace of Pentacles and a new moon in Virgo, a time to give rather than take. And I think that there are parts of you are having a hard time being willing to give. Now, I don't see it being money. I don't see you having a hard time, if a friend needs to borrow some money or, anything like that. I don't pick up on an energy that you would say no, or that you would be unwilling to give in any way. But I do pick up an element of there's parts of you that you are not willing to share. I don't know if it's because you feel like it's threatening your independence or threatening your stability in some way. You know, maybe you've gone through losses and it took a long time to build yourself back up. And now you're being invited to look at love again, maybe a love opportunity of some sort. And maybe there's a part of you that says, listen, I'm not going to get emotionally invested. Maybe there's very practical parts of this that don't feel as though they can work out at this time. Maybe there's very practical things that won't work. Maybe there's an inequality of money, of career, of age difference even here. This Knight of Cups seems to be in a vulnerable place of finding himself. This person feels as though they are coming deeply from their heart. I don't feel bad intentions. I don't feel as though they want to take you for granted. And yet there feels as though there might be a knee-jerk rejection here to it. And not because of your interest in the Knight of Cups, but because of your lack of ability to see things in a softer light. And I think the universe wants you to move into a softer direction. It's an inviting love opportunity into your life for a reason. And the truth is, there again are no guarantees. Maybe that Knight of Cups evolves and turns into a Knight of Wands in reverse. There's no guarantees. But there is a purpose to the universe giving you this experience at this time. Now, maybe there's wisdom. Maybe you are this person's muse. Maybe they are looking up to you in some ways, and therefore it's important for you to understand that you are being an example to this person. And I feel in a lot of ways that this person admires you. And so if this is by chance not romantic, then I assure you the universe will pay you back in a lot of ways for any kind of guidance or good examples that you set at this time. Your God is in ecstasy and there's nothing you can do about it. And if God is in ecstasy, I wonder what he sees when he looks at you. There's an element here of letting go of control. Letting go of the need to play it safe, to make sure that you're on stable ground. I don't think it's about the long term right now. I think you're being invited to participate in something in some way that is out of your comfort zone, because it's a chance to tune into another side of yourself, the Venusian side of yourself. You're being asked to open up. You're being asked to allow yourself to grow. You're being asked to allow these new opportunities to come in. These opportunities will begin to soften your heart. What is ecstasy to you? We see God as an example. We see our God, whoever we envision to be the higher power. We know that they are able to achieve ecstasy. And of course, because we're human, we're never going to get there. But the point is to integrate both the ecstasy and the responsibility. Maybe you've been a little bit too geared in the responsibility mode, in the safety mode. Now is the time to open your heart. And unless you're willing to truly open your heart to give to participate, to invest emotionally, I see. You're not going to truly understand who you are. And I do think it's a romantic or a very loving experience at the least. I mean, who knows? Maybe you're getting a new puppy. The universe is inviting you to invite love into your life, to invite someone or something into your life that helps you to connect with the softer, more loving side of yourself. Now is the time to kind of invite back that part of you that wanted those things before the Five of Pentacles and Three of Swords happened. To remember that part of you that wanted to fall in love, that wanted to believe that best friends are forever. And now you have the opportunity, and I wouldn't waste it. Wow, very, very powerful reading. Beautiful. My goodness, guys, my heater is going, and it feels like it's about 580 degrees in here. Okay, moving on to pile number 3. Love this color stone. Okay. Take these first. Okay, pile number 3, your overall energy, lunar eclipse, change. Card number 43, breaking down to a 7, pretty significant as it shows right up underneath this Tower card. There's no doubt that you are experiencing Uranus at its finest. Interesting energy here. Okay. So, lunar eclipse, let's get into that for a moment. Lunar eclipse happens when the sun is eclipsed from the sky, eclipsed from our view. There's something oftentimes ending. Now, because it involves the moon, it involves our emotions. There's definitely a depth of emotional ending here, prompting change within your life. A lot of times, lunar eclipses, much like the energy that we're feeling with Uranus here, in ancient times, it often spoke of the loss of a leader, and people feared it. And so when they knew it was coming, there was kind of a buildup of anticipatory anxiety, like, oh no, what is this lunar eclipse going to bring? Oftentimes we become very much in tune with the everyday, constant, same thing. And the idea of change can be very jarring. And this energy, especially if you are any type of a fixed sign, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, or Aquarius, I could promise you that you will be forced to step out of your comfort zones in a lot of ways to kind of reframe new opportunities in your life. And there seems to be an odd progression here, as though you are going back to the drawing board in some way. Or maybe this was a love relationship that's going up for reconciliation of some sort. Maybe this is a job that you had that you're thinking about coming back to. This lunar eclipse being right above the Six of Wands, which is a Leo card. There's a lot of Leo. Actually, there's 3 Leos cards right here in front of me. And Taurus, Capricorn, and Cancer and Pisces as well. So all this Leo energy kind of over here, which I kind of sense things that have been eclipsed out of us. Now the Strength card, card number 8. It has a lot to do with our inner strength, our ability to choose which voices we're listening to, the ego side of things, you know, the part of our ego that keeps us safe. It's not always our best friend. And this Strength card next to the Four of Wands tells me that there's probably some form of a stability in your life that at one point or another you had to learn to live without. Maybe this is a relationship that broke up. Maybe this was a job that you had to leave. And it feels as though with the lunar eclipse right there underneath that Four of Wands, it was rather abrupt. And I'm wondering if you didn't slip into this Six of Wands, kind of, it's more of a shallow energy. The Six of Wands can be very ego-driven. It could be, you know, just ultimately concerned about how other people see you, how other people view you. The Strength, the Four of Wands, and the Six of Wands tells me that there's probably somewhat of a power struggle occurring. I don't know if it's with somebody else in particular or kind of with yourself. And I feel as though maybe there is a point that you have to prove. Some kind of point that you're trying to drive home, like I can survive without you. I am just fine without this job, without this marriage, without this partnership. I'll be just fine leaving this house. Sometimes the Four of Wands can, you know, represent a home. And maybe there's a new vision now. I feel almost as if there's a divide right here in the middle of the Six of Wands, almost like a cutting of self. I think there's an old version of you that was very immense, very embedded in the reliability of day-to-day stuff. Now, that could play out in a lot of different ways, you know, kind of a slave to having the big house or the expensive car. Six of Wands, because that's what it meant to be successful. You had to have something to show for it. This is a part of ourselves that feels the need to express where we are and how much we have and how much we've earned. And there's really nothing wrong with that. I mean, the Four of Wands and the Six of Wands, there is no doubt that you've worked very hard, strength, towards something that you wanted in your heart. This is the desire to have the nice house in the nice neighborhood, to drive the nice car, to wear the nice clothes. And yet almost in an instant, it feels like there is an eclipse within you, and all of the sudden, those things don't mean shit. All of the sudden, there's a whole nother perspective. All of the sudden, the things that you own, what you have in the bank, becomes very unimportant. And Three of Pentacles, Two of Cups, it's more about who you have next to you. It's more about the people, the quality of your time, the quality of your relationships. Maybe there was a lot of time and energy, spent on social media. Maybe there was a lot of time and energy spent kind of marketing yourself. Sometimes you have to do that for your job. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. You have to work really hard to kind of become this persona of yourself. Lunar eclipse, change, all of the sudden, it becomes very apparent who you are surrounding yourself with and what they value. And ultimately, this is about integrating those things of value. It is no longer about or dependent upon how much money you make, what kind of house you live in, what kind of car you drive, or where you went to school. You begin to see things in a different way. You begin to see the value that other people bring to you. Three of Pentacles. There's a feeling of community. There's a feeling of real belonging and not belonging on a social media, not belonging in a way that other people have all of the same opinions that you do. Now it's Three of Pentacles. This is the coming together. This is the I have food, I have wisdom, I have, electricity, in times of need, these people. And this is about finding our soulmates. This is about finding our tribe and where we belong, and belonging for the right reasons. Not because we look the same, not because we're from the same place, not because we have the same job. And the Two of Cups is a promise of integration. It is the promise of balance. It is the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang, the ability to attract as well as achieve. Because of the integration, because of the trust, the Three of Pentacles has a lot to do with trust and your willingness to. If you're unwilling to trust a relationship, or if you're unwilling to trust a new opportunity, then you can't expect much from it. And so the universe is kind of pushing you to invest at this time, invest in the right things. King of Keys under the Strength and the Four of Wands. And I feel as though that has a lot to do with what you have to offer others. You felt as if it was very important. The King of Keys represents somebody who's very career and money focused, very material level. This is somebody who's very concerned that they have everything right in order to, you hear that some people are in the mentality of, okay, well, I don't want to have kids until I have a 5-bedroom home and we're in the perfect school system. And and other people are like, well, it's just going to happen when it happens and we'll make everything right. There's two different schools here. And this school, this King of Keys, is somebody who's very practical, and they plan things out. And they build solid foundations based on value. This is somebody that knows that you have to sometimes strength. Four of Wands, you have to push away that stuff that, that instant gratification. Maybe you are somebody that missed out on a lot of fun in your life because you were busy working towards your career goals in some way. Failure. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. Four of Wands. Maybe there was an unwise investment. Maybe you invested in something that was kind of reflecting this old version of yourself. Maybe you bought a house and decided that you don't want it. Maybe you took a job and decided it's not where you belong. And underneath the Six of Wands means that there's a couple different ways that this can play out. You could be stuck in this energy of I'm a failure. I couldn't make this work, or I couldn't do this right. And I really ruined my life in some way. But a wise person, a spiritual person, knows there is no such thing as failure. That there are simply experiences that help you see the things you could not see before. Lunar eclipse, the things you could not see. The value in the things you weren't looking at. There are simply experiences. And oftentimes, I want to tell everyone how very unimportant this lifetime truly is in the grand scheme of things. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't have goals and aspirations because this life doesn't matter anyways. No, the experiences are what matters. Nobody keeps score at the end and says, okay, well, this person made the most money. This person had the most people admire them. You know, nobody keeps score like that. So you could start to experience things from your own gauge. What do you want to experience in this lifetime? Maybe it's not the big house or the fancy job title. And by making those changes, by moving out of those big houses or by quitting those jobs, leaving those relationships that are kind of built on just the physical value that you bring each other. And there's opening up here. There's opening up to something much deeper. And so these are not failures, these are opportunities. You are good enough, full moon in Virgo, right underneath the Six of Wands. I don't know if there is something happening within your world right now, something happening on the material plane, something happening with your finances that makes you feel as though you are undeserving in some way. But you are not. Full moon in Virgo, lunar eclipse. There's a lot about self-worth right here. There's so much about the value that you are bringing to the table by giving, by accepting. There's radical self-acceptance of who you are, what you want, the new version of yourself. And here's the thing, you are good enough. Even if you had less money, even if you had a smaller house, even if you had a shitty job, you are good enough to be loved. And I think the universe is bringing you some really important key players here. Three of Pentacles, Two of Cups, people that are truly going to show you how and why they value you. And if you felt like you spent some time in kind of shallow relationships and circumstances, I think it's time for you to see a new depth with this Three of Pentacles. 41, soulmates. I mean, it's very clear here. It's very clear that you are starting to realize what your soul truly wants, what you are meant to experience. Soul mate. Meaning it's not about the things anymore. It's now the shift has been towards another person, people, relationships. These things are they're going to become much more integrated in your life. Your connections are going to become your greatest investment. The people that you have at your side, a person that you fall asleep with every night or wake up every morning, those are going to become your focus. And the other stuff just simply isn't going to matter as much. When a blockage gets hit, it's a good thing. It's time to open up internally and release the blocked energy. Yeah. I think that something's going to happen soon. It's going to feel like a dam is being broken open within your heart. There's a real aha moment coming from this. I see it now. That's what I want. That's what I want to experience. That's the person I want that with. And I think it's going to uproot, like I said when I explained with the stone, uproot that root chakra, these very old beliefs that we've had, like we can't survive unless we have all of these things. And then those things are taken away. And we start to reframe things and we go, oh, okay, I didn't even need those things. What I truly need is this. And then we have the ambition to go after it. And I feel like that is what's growing into culmination, is the ability to go after what you truly desire and leave this old version of self behind. This is a very beautiful reading and is very powerful. And I think it's a shift between the material desire of things and the emotional desire of others, the integration of others, learning to make others a bigger part of our lives and to express that to them. Wow. Gorgeous reading, guys. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm very sorry I wasn't able to finish up the signs for the mid-months, but I will very shortly be tapping into the new February readings, so you'll have those very soon. I wish all of you a happy and wonderful end of the month full moon in Leo. And please remember that that full moon, especially if this third reading was for you, that full moon in Leo is going to be a real pivotal moment for you in terms of your next direction. And you're going to be forced to kind of look at things from your heart space. It's not about being logical. It's not about being even reliable. It's about your heart right now. All right, guys, wishing you a wonderful month ahead. I will be back shortly. Take care. I love you guys so much. Bye.